I remember there was a part in the Beef DVD. I forgot which number it was, but it was at the time that you were beefing with D12 and so forth. And I remember there was this one scene where you were rolling around and you had a bulletproof vest and you had a gun on you at the time. Growing up, before you became, a rapper and so forth, how much of that did you have to actually deal with in terms of where you grew up?
Well, you know what? Not really that much. Not really that much. I got into a lot of more of my trouble after I became an artist than I did when I was a kid. Like I didn't have to get involved in a lot of gunplay as a kid. I more fighting than anything because I used to play basketball. I was a basketball player, so I got into a lot of fights, but it was playing basketball. Like it was like I go up for a layup and call a foul, and somebody like, nah, there ain't no foul, and next thing you know, we fighting. That was like the most I dealt with. I got into the music business. It turned into some whole other shit. I guess because I was so young going into hip hop and a lot of people didn't have record deals back then. So, everybody was like volleying for a position. You know what I'm saying? So it just kind of turned into that. And then when you like young and kind of cocky and you don't want to back down from anything that's happening because, people are going to try you. A lot of people tried me, just because I was Royce the 5'9". You know what I mean? And I had to meet all of that shit with force. I had to meet it with force. I wasn't about to move nowhere. I wasn't about to go to Cali or New York or nothing like that. I was gonna stay right here and it was gonna be what it was gonna be. Win, lose, or draw. And that's my mentality now, too.
I mean, if you look at beef back then, and you look at like beef today in the social media era, like, what's the difference?
Well, it was actually repercussions to your words back then. You had to stand by what you said back then. If you said you was gonna punch somebody in the face when you seen them, you had to punch them in the face when you seen them. Now it's like taboo to be hands-on. It's taboo to actually put your hands on somebody. As an OG, you gotta learn how to ignore things. You have to. You gotta laugh shit off. Like Earl Sweatshirt talking crazy about Eminem, we gotta laugh that off now. In '99, we would took his head. We took his head a long time ago. But now it's just a different time, and everybody's more mature, and we just got to understand that the kids with influence a lot of times don't really know what they're doing. They don't know what they're saying. They just kind of getting in front of the mic saying shit, and then they get off the mic and then they just want to go have a good time.
Well, are you talking about Earl Sweatshirt or Tyler the Creator?
Both of them.
Oh, Earl said something too? I missed that one. And you guys haven't run into him at all since then?
Nah, I mean, it ain't nothing to worry. It ain't nothing to worry about. If they run into me, they don't have nothing to worry about.
Well, it's interesting because you actually did a song with Joey Badass recently, right?
I like Joey.
Have you seen what's been happening between Joey Badass and Troy Ave recently?
I have.
What do you think about some of the things that Troy Ave said about Capital Steez, who was like very, very close to Joey and he committed suicide?
I understand what he's saying when he's saying it's no rules. It's no rules to the reaction. It's no rules to the reaction. I guess that's what he's standing by. He's basically saying there's no rules to the reaction. If you push me in my back and I have something to say about it, whatever I say, it's no rules and no boundaries. Some people live by that. I don't personally agree with that. I personally feel like when you're talking about an MC battle, there are boundaries and lines that you probably shouldn't cross, just for karma reasons. But I can't judge Troy Ave because I said something about Bugs, the late great Bugs, when we were going through the me and D12 thing. So to be young and have that kind of energy, I understand it. But he's gonna probably regret saying that.
Well, I mean, yeah, because I actually forgot the Bugs line because you said something about Bugs who had died.
Yeah.
And he was part of D12, and that essentially took the beef to a different place. I mean, you see stuff like Kanye saying, I own your son to Wiz Khalifa. and like, I feel like these days the line has been crossed so many times that there just ain't a line anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you have kids, right? If someone says some shit about your kids, I don't think you can apologize your way out of that.
Nah, I mean, it just depends on who you do it to. It depends on who you do it to. You know, it's Twitter, man. Twitter is the devil sometimes. You know, because it gives you a platform to say the first thing that you think of without even really being able to think it out. And once you hit that once you click that send button, it's a wrap. It's out there. You can't take it back. You know, thank God I didn't have that back in the day. I'd have got myself in some trouble. I definitely would have got myself in some trouble.
It's almost like the new generation has to learn how to deal with this tool because, you know, think about it. Like when you started rapping, if you wanted to diss someone, you know, another rapper, there was only one way to do it. That is to go into the studio, write it down, and then go into a booth, press it up, and then distribute it. You know, at some point during this fairly long process, you could say, you know, this is probably not a good idea. Let me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure there's been lots of diss records that got stopped before the distribution phase. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But that button.
Yeah, it was it was steps. It was steps until you got to that final point. Now you got Twitter, you got memes. You got all of these things that get in the way, that come first, that you can do before actually having to go to the studio. Going to the studio and actually writing a record and laying it is like that's like your final gun that you're shooting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's entertaining to watch. You know, I can't really, it'd be hard for me to judge how guys are doing it now when I haven't been put in that position. I don't know how it feels to have to respond to somebody, and I don't know if I got to use memes or I don't know if I got to go straight to the studio. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so weird, man. I'll probably be one of them old school guys that just go straight to the booth and everybody be looking at me like, oh, man, he old school with it. Where the memes at? Why the nigga ain't saying nothing funny?
When Meek Mill dissed 50 Cent on a record, 50 just memed him to death. Like there was no musical response for the first time ever in 50's 50's career of beef. There was always a song that 50 would put out until Meek Mill, who's a notable artist. You can't even say like, oh, he was too small to respond. I mean,
I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. I think Fifth was putting out funny content about his adversaries before the memes. 50 was doing meme-worthy things, like all that pimping Curly and all of that shit. Like he birthed that kind of behavior. So I gave him a pass with the memes.
He birthed that kind of behavior, but it would always go with a song as well. It wouldn't just be, you know what I'm saying? Like whoever he was beefing with.
Not all of it. Not all of it. Some of it came with a song. But a lot of it was just content of him showing up at somebody's job or content of, you know, like it was like when he launched thisis50.com, I was just following a whole bunch of content. You know?
Okay. Name one person 50 is beefed with before Meek that there wasn't a song to go along with it.
I don't think there is anybody, is it? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, he had a whole lot of content outside of the songs that you could put in the same category as memes are now today.
All right. Okay. I feel you on that. So as someone who's, you know, been in rap beefs and has been, you know, seasoned in this game, if you were to name your top 5 beef records of all time in no particular order, your top 5 of all time, what would they be?
Ether, Takeover, No Vaseline, The Bitch in You.
Common?
Yeah. Hell yeah. The Bridge is Over. I just don't like, you know, yeah, Bridge is Over. Bridge is over.
The Bridge is over. What have we forgotten? Well, not forgotten, but what have we left out of that list? Hit 'Em Up is not on the list.
Hit 'Em Up is a great one. Hit 'Em Up is a great one.
You wouldn't say Hit 'Em Up is top 5? You would put the Bitch in You over Hit 'Em Up.
But you said no particular order. You said name 5.
No, right. No, but that's 5. But you didn't put Hit 'Em Up on the list.
I mean, I named the first ones that came to my head.
Okay.
So, I mean, I love Hit 'Em Up. I love Hit 'Em Up. I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't go into a barbershop and say the Bitch in You is better than Hit 'Em Up. But I listen to the Bitch in You more than I listen to Hit 'Em Up. Because at the time of the Pac and Biggie beef, media made you choose a side. And I was always I was always on the Biggie side.
Okay.
Even though I like Pac as an artist better today than I did back then. I'm a very afflicted fan of hip hop.
You like Pac today better than you liked him back then because
I like Pac today as an artist probably better than any artist ever. But back then when he was living, I didn't understand what I was listening to.
Why would you say that you like Pac as an artist today better than any other artist?
Well, I relate to everything that he's saying. You know, like it's a way more powerful message, and I appreciate everything that he does creatively now with a more mature ear than I did back then, because he wasn't giving it to me as an MC like Biggie was. You know what I'm saying? I could hear the MC in Biggie more, so I lean more towards Biggie as a kid coming up. And now I appreciate all of the layers that Pac had as an artist at such a young age, looking back at it in retrospect.
Well, as a lyricist yourself, I mean, I could clearly see how you would like Biggie better as a lyricist because Biggie was more of a lyricist than Tupac. Like the way that Biggie was structuring his shit, I don't think anyone's done it like that before. Not especially not a street artist. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and
like
he was
what
telling,
Eminem
he was
what
telling
Eminem
stories.
does is it.
He was telling stories. He was doing everything. He was doing everything.
Yeah.
Biggie, Nas, and Jay-Z was like the trifecta for me, you know, as a kid.
But I wish he'd stop. I like Meek Mill, man. Like I'm not gonna.
I wish he'd stop. Listen, I liked Meek Mill, but all of this shit is making you look bad, homie.
Saying he used to want to be signed to Rockefeller, but then he turned into Jay.
Oh yeah.
I understand what he's saying, but you got to understand how that could be took.
Yeah, you're taking a shot at Jay-Z.
I mean, you could be taking a light shot at Jay.
You're taking a shot at Jay-Z.
And hip hop be like, nah, bro, you ain't Jay.
Yeah.
You're Drake, which is fine.